Have you ever wondered what is the difference between an amazing PI planning event? Over the years, I've seen what that difference actually is. And that difference occurs when we have got very well prepared events, but also when we're doing it in a collaborative way. So it's not just the release train engineer or just a product manager who's actually taking responsibility for the whole event. It's a cast of people working collaboratively towards a common goal. Who are those people and how can we get them together, and how do we organize them together, and how do we clarify who those are? That is the topic of today's video. Hey friends, I'm Ahmed, scaled Agile and productivity coach based in the UK. On this channel, we cover productivity, agility, and joy. In this 14th video in the PI Planning for Beginners series, I walk you through step by step exactly what it takes to make an amazing PI planning event. In this video, as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at the whole cast of people that we need to put together to make sure we have an awesome event. Now on the screen, what you're going to see is a template that I put together before every PI planning event. You'll find a link to this document in the description so you can download it for yourself. Now, if you look at the document, you're going to see a number of different areas. These are the areas that we want to support people with. We have a description, and then we outline who it is that is going to be supporting that specific area or helping with a specific problem. So let's go through these one by one. So the first area that I like to cover off is program prioritization. As when we're going to PI planning, of course, we want to make sure we've got our feature backlog well prioritized and organized well in advance of the PI planning event itself. But frequently during a planning event, things come up. Prioritization calls need to be made. Other issues may arise that mean that we need to have somebody that can actually help with those prioritization calls. This is typically your product manager. In addition, you might have at the team level product owners that are helping with prioritization at the team level. So it's really good, and it's really good practice to make sure that we've got this called out very clearly in terms of who is the person that's going to be making the prioritization calls. So if there are any challenges like that, everybody knows who they need to go to. The next thing, who do we go to when there are program risks or impediments that need to be resolved? Who is responsible for collating all of those? Who is responsible for then doing a roaming session of those? Let's clarify who that is up front. Let's put their name over there. If any of your Scrum Masters or anybody else on the team has questions around that, they need to know who to go to. I like to separate the program risk from the architectural risk, especially if you've got a very complex architectural program. Always makes sense to actually pull those out. If you've got any specific technical, architectural runway or infrastructure or other kinds of challenges that you may have, any risks or impediments, then the system architect is typically the person who you want to put over here as the port of contact. Again, same architectural questions that you might have over there, and then you would have those individuals over there, either the system architect or the architect at the team level as well, you might have over there as well. Who's responsible for the tooling, especially if you've got, nowadays we've got a lot of remote PI planning events. If you've got challenges with logging in, if you've got challenges with licensing or anything else, or access or read or write privileges, who's going to be responsible for that? What about your team planning? Who is your coach? Who helps with any questions that you have as part of your planning process? This typically might be your release train engineer. If you have a scaled agile coach, this could be that person. Whoever it is that you think can actually help the teams with any planning issues or any other challenges they have during the actual event as well. Now, what happens if you've got resourcing or capacity issues? Who would you speak to on that? And again, you have the individual over there as well. Now, in terms of the program dependency board, who is responsible for outlining the dependencies? Of course, you want the Scrum Masters and everybody to all be engaged in that, but who is the person that you have that's going to be bringing it all together? This could be the release train engineer, it could be a coach or anybody else that you feel relevant that is going to, that you wish to assign to that particular role. Again, who is responsible for the overall, making sure they've collated all of the PI planning outputs, they're actually all dialed in, the quality of those are all there. Do you have anybody who is our point person for that? And finally, I like to have feature definition impediments. Are there any questions or challenges with the features as they've come in? Hopefully there should be none, but if they are, again, we've got questions around that. Typically, again, this would probably be, I would expect to be the product manager who would be helping with those kind of challenges. So there you have it. You've got a very simple, straightforward PI planning supporting roles template. I typically put these up on the wall so that when people come in, if you've got a live event, you put them over there. If you've got a remote event, then you might choose to put those up on your program planning tooling board over there so people know who they need to go to whenever they encounter any issues. All of these little things make a big difference to the overall experience, so everybody knows that you've put in the hard work and the effort to make sure you've got a really fantastic event. So I hope you found that useful, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Please consider subscribing to this channel where we focus on PI planning and how we can implement SAFe in the real world, in your environment, so that you really have that amazing experience of implementing SAFe and PI planning as well. Also consider sharing this with your team or with your Agile release train as well. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video when we'll be covering the PI planning event itself. So look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you and take care. Bye.